without a voice, without words, he's limited with his independence when he gets older. That's what we were searching for when we came here, is a voice for him. And we've gotten so much more.
So my name is Eileen. This is Thomas. And our son is Jackson. He is now 13 years old. And we come from New York. Jackson was diagnosed at 2, being on the autism spectrum. And he also has a speech apraxia diagnosis. And we've done all the traditional therapies that are offered in our home state. And we really wanted to find his voice. We wanted him to have language to help ease the frustration of his lack of being able to communicate his wants and needs. I started doing all of this research and I came across the Stem Cell Institute here in Panama. My husband just happened to come home from work that same day and say to me, I heard this podcast with Mel Gibson. And then when I listened to it with him, I was like, I think that's the same place that I just found online. And I saw the Facebook group, and I had just put in a request to join the Facebook page. And so all those pieces just kind of fell together at the same exact time. And we just felt that Panama was the right fit for our family.
So seeing that this is the place that was trusted by a lot of people out there that have the means to do and go wherever they want, this was the place that we chose, and I'm glad we did. It's a great place. A great community building around here. We've met so many parents from around the world that we could sit with and talk with and share our experiences with.
So he had no words. He could make the M sound. He would go a lot, but he had 0 words. His behavior wasn't the worst of the worst, but it was difficult. And doing everyday family activities could be difficult. He could work that iPad and use the communication device to communicate, but it wasn't natural. And he couldn't be at the park and on a swing and say, push me more, or I want to go higher. So he ate fast, he worked fast, he just wanted everything to be done all the time. And I think academically what the struggle was, because he just wanted to rush through work, you weren't really able to teach him the next step. So when we first decided to come, Jackson, he was always nonverbal. He had no language, and he was 9 years old when he first came for treatment. So 6 months out, you're like, there's nothing's happening. He's not responding. Oh my gosh, this is so disappointing. And then a few weeks into month 6, his teacher called and asked us to come in for a meeting because she needed to update his IEP goals. And when you have a kid and they're on an individual educational plan, most of the time the goals are not always met. And now here we were being called into a meeting because he had met so many of his goals, particularly it was his math goals that he had met, that they asked us to come in and update his goals. So now we go in for this meeting and the teacher says that they don't know if we've noticed, but what they've noticed in the classroom is that Jackson has slowed down so much. And we were kind of like, oh yeah, I think he has. It wasn't because we were so focused on the language goal that we weren't being open-minded to the other things that were starting to take place.
It's something as simple as watching a movie. He'd sit down for maybe 2 minutes and then run around and sit down for another minute and run around. And now this kid is sitting down and watching an entire movie.
And he gets it. He understands the movie. You can ask him, questions about the movie, and he knows what's going on.
He slowed down and was able to pay attention to what's going on around him instead of us holding him back when he was running to cross the street without looking. Now he's holding us back and paying attention and being aware of his surroundings.
So we were at this point where we decided to bring back prompt therapy. It was a 45-minute session, and it's somebody touching your face and giving you direction. And he wasn't able to handle it when he was younger. He was all over the place and couldn't sit still. And we thought, he's focusing now. So what we honestly feel is the first set of rounds, even though we didn't get the language, it gave us everything we needed to get to the next part. The language started to come. We considered them functional words: go, come, more, just words to give him. But it was amazing to hear his voice for the first time, to hear his voice, and he was so proud of himself, and he knew that we were happy.
And he quickly went from 0 words to 50, seemingly overnight. That alleviated so much of his frustration because he was not able to express himself. The iPad is very limited.
Now he's talking even so much more than those functional words. I mean, he's putting 3 or 4 words together in a sentence. He had dignity, self-dignity, where he could be in the bathroom and he could say, "Mom, come, Mom, come, Mom, come." It was like the most beautiful sound ever. We tried hard for 10 years prior. Everybody worked really hard and the connections just weren't there, and the progress wasn't being made. And now I feel like the stem cells got us to the point where everybody's hard work together, everything was coming as a whole. The stem cells are giving him the ability to take in everything that he's being taught, for it to stick, for it to connect, for it to move him along to the next steps. We've made it very clear, and we know that with any treatment that we do, none of it is to cure or fix anybody. My son will always be autistic. He will always be who he is. The only thing we're trying to do is help him reach his potential, no matter what his potential is. So whatever gains can make his life easier, and whoever's going to help care for him, one of his siblings, whoever's going to help when we're no longer here, whatever makes it easier. So if we help him reach his potential by creating pathways and creating connections that aren't naturally taking place, that's what we're looking for. Everybody's been kind. The staff that remembers Jackson, in 2018, he was a 9-year-old, chubby, very chubby little boy, and now he's a 13-year-old teenager. And you guys have watched him grow, and he knows people. He remembers the people. Yeah, so it's definitely a great place. We have been able to have the best family vacations while keeping our eye on the prize. The clinic is, state of the art, and it's beautiful.
And the fact that the clinic is attached to the hotel where you stay is amazing too. It's so convenient, especially people who have lesser functioning kids and a little bit more worried about them running around or traveling from place to place in a city like this.
It doesn't come easy for most families, and including us, but I couldn't spend the rest of my life wondering what if we would have done it.